All right, what's up, everybody? We have a YouTube live going also, which is fun. What's up, Steve, Ron, Lester, Courtney, JB, Dominique? Nice, cool turnout. So feel free to. I think you guys can use the chat. You can also use the Q and A's. But hold on 1 second. I heard an echo from my YouTube live. Okay, cool. So yeah, feel free to write in the Q and A who you are, where you are. If you can do that in the chat, let people know what your experience is. And I'm going to walk you guys through who we are, what we do, and then yeah, just try to be here to give as much value as we possibly can and explain our business model. So give me just a moment. Share my screen. Boom, there we are. All right, so welcome everybody. My name is Philip Loudon. I'm with Home Guru. We are a real estate company based out of Kansas City. Um, so our tagline is the new American dream, and what we seek to do in the world is help people to achieve the new American dream. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through the presentation. So these are my co-founders, Tanner and Bryce Badgley. They are brothers. I actually met Tanner playing Ultimate Frisbee in Chiang Mai, Thailand. In a former life, I was running e-commerce stores and living in Thailand and in Bali, Indonesia. And that's where I met Tanner. We were playing Ultimate Frisbee. And around COVID time, he came back to Kansas City to start a business and invited me to join. And we began a wholesaling company at that point in time. So you can see here's Tanner and his wife, Nak Noi. All three of us met playing Ultimate Frisbee in Chiang Mai, Thailand, which is pretty cool. This is me speaking at an event here locally. We've had opportunities to speak a few times about our business model because it is a little bit unique. And yeah, we love it. So I don't want to bore you guys with our core values, but really quickly, just what we stand for as a company is a really important part of what we do. Our foundation is around freedom. So our culture of freedom allows for us to enthusiastically live out our own unique purpose in life. And so freedom is the foundation of what our company stands for. And so what we do is we seek to create freedom in our lives, in the lives of families, so we help gain access to home ownership, and also in the lives of our lenders, who we give really nice returns to. So that is the core foundation of our company. We make decisions based off that foundation. Is this creating more freedom in our lives? Is this creating more freedom in the lives of families and our lenders? And based off of that foundation, we made some pretty big decisions recently. And then our values are: we value community, we value doing life in community and creating business in community and creating communities throughout the houses that we provide to families as well. We also want to come from a place of service and always be of service, serve from a heart of compassion. We also love personal growth. We love entrepreneurship and the fires that forge us as entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is not always easy. There's so many lessons and so many challenges, and we really enjoy the growth that comes from that and the people that we become by going through the more challenging lessons. And the final one, which is really important, is fun. We want to create a massive impact in the world, but we also want to enjoy ourselves while doing it. When I was living in Bali and in Thailand, I got to meet a lot of really successful entrepreneurs. And it was pretty crazy to me at that time, seeing people who were so, well off financially, but still were not extremely happy. They're miserable. They're stuck in kind of the rat race, and it was never enough for them. So that was a really important lesson for me, is just see people kind of who were where I thought I wanted to go to, and see they were still not fulfilled. So for us, we want to really bring it back to, like, are we enjoying what we do on a day-to-day basis? And yeah, sometimes it's challenging, but brings us through growth. But overall, are we having fun? And then our main focus is providing home ownership for deserving families. And I'll get more into this. This is kind of the bread and butter of what we do. And yes, we sell properties on seller finance, but we're also certified affordable housing providers, and we work with families to help them gain access to home ownership. And we have some really cool stories around that. And that's more of the heart and soul of our company. So it's not just, yes, we sell properties on wraps, we get nice cash flow, we get nice equity, which is all amazing. We love all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with any of that, but we're also making big impacts in families' lives, which is really cool. So we finance homes. We then provide passive investment opportunities to our lenders. We have private individuals, so we give 10 to 12% returns by passively investing in real estate. And And then we're going to get more into education in the next year, and it's helping to educate people in entrepreneurship and in real estate holistically in a way where we can create freedom in our lives through real estate while having a positive impact on the world, and also create more freedom in our lives so that we can enthusiastically live out our unique purpose in life. Because when you have money and when you have money coming through, you're freed up to do what we're more passionate about, which is amazing. And so that's what we really love, and that's what we really strive for. So we've done over 125 deals. A lot of these have been wholesales, flips. We've had partnerships. We've had failed partnerships. We've done a lot of different things. So when we first started, we were wholesaling, and we got one deal, we got more deals, we got mentors. They taught us to build systems. We built good systems. We were doing 6 deals, 7 deals a month. And then we realized that we weren't holding on to any assets. And we also were selling properties to hedge funds. And for so many different reasons that it didn't meet our core values. It was great. It was amazing. We learned great lessons. We've learned to build up a real estate company, but at the end of the day, we weren't holding on to any assets, and we were getting a lot of other people inventory and properties, but we weren't actually keeping any for ourselves. And we also weren't having the purpose that we really wanted to have. Purpose and impact is really important to us. So after we did a lot of wholesales, we began getting mentors and learning about creative financing. So first, the house that we have a startup house in Kansas City, and we were seller financed this house. We were doing a bunch of wholesales, and one day we were at a mastermind in St. Louis, and my business partner got a phone call, and it was from our follow-up specialist named RJ, who had a house available in Kansas City, Kansas. It was a 4,000 square foot house, 5 acres of land, pool. A really cool story is my business partner actually did a journaling exercise, and he was writing down, like, what is my dream house? Like, what is the absolute, like, if I were to have any house? Because at this time, we were all living in the top story of a duplex. Me, my 2 business partners, and his wife, 4 of us in like maybe 800 to 900 square feet. It was our version of starting a business from my garage. And we were living there. We were working from there for about a year. I'm doing our wholesaling company, and I was getting claustrophobic out the guys. I'm going to go to a co-working space. I cannot live and work here. Like, working from the kitchen table is too much. So around that time, we got super blessed with this house, and the seller's name was Nolan. He was living out in California in his 80s. He loved the heart of our company and what we stood for him. And he seller financed this house. We got into a $500,000 house for $0 down. And with about $100,000 of equity built into the property as well, with a 2.5% interest rate. So dreams come true. Like, journaling, envisioning what we really want in life is pretty incredible. So we were really blessed with this house. So we got seller finance our first house. This is the first house I ever owned, because I was living, a digital nomad life in Asia for years. So we have a path to home ownership that we put families into. And so what our company does now is we acquire properties. We then seller finance families that don't qualify with the banks. So the majority of these families are first generation Americans. They have businesses, they have jobs, they're blue collar workers, they have roofing companies, restaurants, flooring companies, and they have money, but the banks will not finance them because they are not in the credit system, or they don't have the W-2 history. And so we are servicing this underserviced sector of the community here, there's tons of these families looking for houses, and the banks just will not finance them. So that's the niche that we serve. Those are the main people that we serve, and we put them through what we call the path to home ownership. And as you can see here, we actually don't do the bronze level. We're not renting at all. We'll bring them straight into a lease option, to an agreement for deed, to becoming a homeowner, and we mostly focus on this gold level. If they don't have enough of a down payment, we will put them into the rent to own program. But this is the pathway to home ownership. So they begin with a rent to own or agreement for deed, and they keep making payments, and they can refinance or they can sell down the line. And that's how they become homeowners. So to this date, we have served over 25 families and helped them gain access to home ownership. We just had our 28th family gain access to home ownership today. So you can see here are some of the families that we've worked with, and there's more. And the really cool thing about this is each one of these families is a story. So as you can see right here, this is the Jimenez family, and this is one of my favorites. So on the right hand side, you see Miss Jimenez. She's the grandmother, and this is her daughter and her daughter's husband and her 2 grandbabies. And she moved here from Honduras, and she was living in the United States for 17 years, renting out an apartment unit, and she was totally fine with that. For her, like, she moved to the United States, she had kids, her kids grew up, they created business, everything else, but her grandkids were in a one-star school district in Kansas City, Kansas. And so she really wanted a better life for her grandkids. And so what they did is they pulled together and they were able to get into a home in Overland Park, Kansas, which is one of the best school districts in the country. And now they live there, 3 generations of them live in this really big house, this beautiful house. And the kids are now in the 8 out of 10 school district, and it's not just changing their lives, is changing generations of this family. They're getting better education. It's going to really create ripple effects down through the lineage, which is a really cool thing. And all these stories are really amazing. This is Dallas. She moved from DC. She was an entrepreneur, just had a baby. They got a house 5 minutes from downtown Kansas City, and we got to finance them also. And so every single one of these is a story, and it's really, really cool. Another really cool story, just from a real estate investor perspective, is this house that we sold to the Jimenez family was one of our biggest mistakes in real estate. So this is one of our first buy and holds. We bought it for cash with a mentor. It was over winter time, a pipe burst, the water went out. We weren't checking on the property as often as we should have been. It got mold, and when it got mold, we had to take out the flooring, and we had to send our guy Sam in there to do mold remediation. And we were like, we're going to lose money on this house. And so what we did is we put them on a work for equity program. So we gave the family an opportunity to get into the house for, I believe it was $10,000 down for a $400,000 house, $350,000 house. And so they came in, brought the down payment, and they worked for equities. They fixed everything in the house that needed repairs. And now the house is in amazing condition. They got into a house for really cheap, and now they're all living there. So one of the things that we've learned is with this model and with real estate in general, there's always the lever of the down payment you're asking for. So we've had other mistakes also. We probably made 3 main mistakes in real estate with acquisitions. And each of them, we put people on work for equity program, got them to fix up the house for us, let them get into the house for a cheap price for down payment, but they still paid a good price for the purchase price. So we still made really good money on that deal. All right, everyone still with me? Feel free to put some questions and answers down there. Let me know if this is valuable, if this is helpful. All right, so we're going to get into now a little bit more around the business model, and I'll tell you guys, how we structure things. So as I mentioned before, that the foundation of our company is freedom. And so until very, very recently, we were doing direct to seller marketing. So we had text message marketing going out, a cold caller, we were doing direct mail. We had all those leads coming in. We were following up with those individuals, and working on getting those deals closed. And that was a whole system, whole operation. 2 of the founders' bandwidth was spent in that area. And then after we had an operations consultant come out and we realized that the foundation of our company is freedom, we realized that the direct to seller model was not serving that freedom that we were aspiring for. So with that being said, we cut off the direct to seller acquisitions, and now we go directly to agents, to wholesalers, and through referrals. And so now we're buying properties directly from agents. There's a lot less motion in that part of our company, so we can better serve the families. Because at the end of the day, what we truly are is a finance company. We are financing these families, and we are using arbitrage of finances to provide home ownership to these families and basically create a form of a bank. All right, so when we sell, we're selling on lease options, agreement for deeds, and through our work for equity program. Okay, and how do we make money? So the way that we make money is we acquire 70 to 80% of the value, we sell it at 115% of the value, and then we're getting 40% equity and $400 to $900 in cash flow. That cash flow is fully passive at that point, other than having a bookkeeper in place, someone who does the taxes, and then we use Madison Management to manage our notes. We have a note servicing company that we work with, and they take all the money in and they pay out all of our lenders, so everything goes through them. The families have ownership mindset, so those families are fixing the houses. We do not get called. I've never been called for anything breaking, for an air conditioner going out, a furnace going out. We do not get phone calls for this at all. The families have ownership mindset and they take care of it. All right, so here's an example of a house that we did. So we acquired this house for $90,000. This was subject to, we had to pay $10,000 down. That was just the money that the seller was receiving. This property had some foundation issues, and we had a foundation repair person that is really good. So we trust this person. And so the seller was out of state investor, did not want to deal with the property. He sold it to us at a nice discount. We then seller financed a family for $160,000. So we got $10,000 down, an 8.5% interest rate, and then we were cash flowing. Where does it say the cash flow? It should say the cash flow somewhere. Here we go. So we're cash flowing $744.45 per month. Our projected profit over 7 years is $134,000. So a few things on this property. One is we've learned that in Kansas City, and we only focus in Kansas City, we learned that families here, first generation Americans, mostly from Latin American countries, are afraid of tornadoes, which is something I never would have thought about because I've never seen this. I've lived here for several years. I've never experienced a tornado. I've never seen a tornado, but it's a real thing. They're afraid of tornadoes. And it's not just like some people. When houses do not have basements, it's really hard for us to sell them. So this was a slab foundation property. So that's why we only got $10,000 down, is because it's hard to sell a property on slab foundation because they are afraid of tornadoes and they want to have like some sort of way to go in there. Yeah, Jordan. So for the RMLO process, we have worked with an RMLO, but at this point, we're going more towards a lease option model to not deal with the RMLO process as much. So the RMLO process can be extremely challenging. So because a lot of these families, they have money and we qualify them in our own way, but to get all the documents, to get everything together from them can be extremely challenging. So that is why we want to move more towards a lease option model that mirrors a contract for deed, so that we don't need to deal with the prospect of the RMLO as much. But there are people who do RMLO services for you. I know I think Nick Legamaro has a service that helps with that. So we're in communications with him as well to discuss that, because that is one of the sticking points of seller financing properties, is that at a certain point you need to do 4 properties like this before you need to get you need to use an RMLO. And so this is going into the weeds of Dodd-Frank and Dodd-Frank compliance. And so with Dodd-Frank, there's only been, I think, 4 people who have actually had this happen to them, where they were litigated for not using an RMLO, and they were doing extremely sketchy activity as well. So that was kind of a byproduct of not doing not being a moral company. So yes, you should use an RMLO. Have many people been persecuted for not using an RMLO? Not really. So an RMLO is just a mortgage loan officer that approves the buyers, and you bring them through this process just like you would with the bank. All right, what interest rates we normally charge, and when do you sell it for 110%? Do you normally do any repairs to the house, or do you sell it as is? Great question, Kyle. So we are normally charging around 9.5% interest. Our average down payment is $27,000. But that down payment is a lever. So if we want to sell it quicker, we'll sell for $20,000 down. When we usually fix up the properties to make it presentable. And so a lot of times we acquire properties for cash, and then we're refinancing into a debt service cover ratio loan, right? So when we're refinancing into a debt service cover ratio loan, it needs to meet the qualifications for the refinance. So we're usually getting it to that level, but we're not doing any crazy rehabs. The families will do the work themselves for the most part. But these houses, they're not in bad condition. This house is already in good condition. This one we fixed the foundation and did a clean out. We just sold one today. That one also needs some foundation work. We fixed that foundation, did a clean out, marketed it. So we don't want to have the cash conversion cycle is such a big thing to any business. And so we want to make sure that we're not, if the cash conversion cycle is too long, then we're always short on capital, right? So the more we can shorten the cash conversion cycle, the more healthy we will be as a business. And another thing that we do for that, and this is how our private lenders get involved, is we sell off what are called cash streams. And so a cash stream is, now that we have, let's say we have $744 in cash flow, we sell off that cash flow to investors. It's basically like selling a note, but it's fully passive, and they get 12% returns. So investors come in, they receive 12% returns. Because, for example, $50,000, we get some of the equity out of the property for money now, And then our investors are receiving $730 every single month until that's paid off over 7 years. So that's a creative way that we're using investors to free up capital within our property. It's called note hypothecations. If you want to get very technical, we call them cash streams. It's a lot easier to understand. Cool. You guys all following along? How are we doing? All right. So another property. So this property is a duplex that we got in KCK. This is an amazing one. This was seller finance to us as well, and we got into it for $5,000 down. Super good property, and families love duplexes, right? So the family that moved into this, they actually rented out one side and they're fixing up one side, and then they're living in the other side. So they're basically house hacking this duplex. We sold for $285,000, 7% interest. $20,000 down, and they're going to give us another $10,000 here in the next month or two. 30-year term, PITI is $2,200. Financed amount, yeah, $265. And then this one's cash flowing really nicely also, $736 in cash flow, projected 7-year profit of $156,000. And the reason for that is because we got it's seller financed to us at around 3% interest. So we had that interest rate arbitrage, which is amazing. We love the interest rate arbitrage. We love subject twos. We love seller finance deals. But with subject twos and seller finance deals, they're just more challenging to get, right? We don't want to be buying properties all over the country, not right now. We want to focus in our market and know our buy box really well. And as I've already told you, we've made mistakes. We bought houses that did not fit our buy box. We've sold houses for $500,000 on seller financing before, and it takes a lot longer to find those buyers, and it's a lot smaller of a buyer pool. So now we know what our buy box is here locally in this market. We're able to service those customers a lot better. So this one, yeah, we have $50,000 of upfront equity, and with that interest rate arbitrage, we're going to be making more money over time. And because we gave them a pretty low interest rate anyways, like they're probably going to keep that in place. What we got? For DSCRs, we use Kiavi, but we're also looking into some other private individuals, not private, but not the bigger companies. So Renovo is one, but it's hard to do DSCRs at scale with them. And for those who don't know, DSCR is a debt service cover ratio loan. It is an asset-based loan, and it'll be refinanced based off of the rental rates as well as the appraised value of a property. All right, so Kiavi, we like Kiavi. We're in another mastermind, and we have a $3 million hard money line with Kiavi. And so we buy with them, and then they have a 3-month refinance. We'll refinance after 3 months. Yeah, and if you have specific questions like that as well, I want to go into the weeds, feel free to message me. If you look here, you can see my phone number. You can text me. I'm happy to chat about those specifics. So Kansas City, so another thing that we do with our properties, and this is one of the things I love about this model is that it is obviously nothing is recession proof fully, but to me, and I'm very discerning, and I am also very hesitant. I don't want to lose everything I built, right? So if 2008 happened again, things like that. I think about these things. And so for this model, for me, it's one of the most recession proof models based off my understanding. And the reason for that is one, all of our properties are below median income. So, and most of our properties we're buying at around 150 and selling for around 225, right? So we're below median income. The families are first generation Americans. They have businesses, they saved up their money. Putting $25,000 down into a property is a big deal. And so they're going to be some of the last ones to default, in my opinion, because one, they're resourceful. They're first generation. All of us who live in the United States are 3rd generation, 4th generation, whatever. This 1st generation, members of the United States, this is their time to create the American dream. They want to live the American dream, and a big part of that is home ownership. You put $25,000 into a property, that's the last thing you're going to allow for it to be taken away from you. And so they'll bring more family members in. They'll work together to make sure they do not lose that house. And being blue collar workers, they're going to figure out a way to not default if something were to happen. And that's the biggest risk in this. We have a 95% success rate with our families. And the only family that failed was the first house we ever seller financed. And the reason was the kid was 20 years old. He was rehabbing it. He had foundation issues. He wasn't married. We made all the wrong decisions with putting that individual in the house, and he just gave it back to us. There was no foreclosure process. Cool. So Yeah, this is just some information about Kansas City. Kansas City is a great market. I love the Midwest. The Midwest is like pretty affordable houses. There's a large Latin American population here as well. Um, Properties, I mean, yeah, the market's been crazy for a few years, so properties sell pretty quick. All right, so and this is what we offer for our lenders as well. So let's bring up another early buyout terms with owner finance. What do you mean by that, Lester? When you say early, are you talking about for our buyers? So we allow for the families can pay us off whenever. So like if a family wants to refinance, they can do it. If they want to pay us out earlier, they can do it. With Dodd-Frank, you can't do you can't like not allow for them to refinance. Um, Yeah, so for lease option, we've done a lot more contract for deeds than lease options, but we how we want to structure the lease option is we want to structure it to mirror the contract for deed. So how I really want to do it is do a lease option for 5 years, and if they pay on time continuously all throughout that period, then they can exercise the option into a seller finance, and that's more kosher. It's lease option going into a seller finance. So that's how we want to structure it because we like once again like our foundation is freedom. We want these families to succeed. We're not doing this so that we can foreclose on these families, get the houses back, and sell it again. That does not match our core values. So we want these families to succeed. The lease options we're still structuring, but we want to match a contract for deed. The lease options that we've done before have all been lease options that convert to a seller financing. And another option with this is doing lease options and then like getting the buyers ready to refinance. So helping them to get their credit ready so that they can refinance. And that would require an additional strategic partnership because that's not the bread and butter of our company. All right, so this is a really cool section here. And this is what we are offering our lenders. So this is what we call the Abundant Retirement Accelerator. And so we basically have a three-pronged investment model. We have our path to home ownership when we sell it. We have our equity protection program where we acquire properties at a discount. And then we have the Abundant Retirement Accelerator Fund. So this is where we tap into people that want to passively invest in real estate. Some of them have Roth IRAs or 401ks that they're not using. They're sitting there getting 4 or 5, 6% returns. And after they pay their financial advisors 4 or 5, 6% returns, and it's fine. But they want to invest their money and get better returns. And they also like that they're investing in something purposeful. It's not just, some other corporation or Amazon or whatever, every investment that they put into our business goes towards allowing us to buy more houses and allowing for more families to gain access to home ownership. So that is what our Abundant Retirement Accelerator is. And so we tap into private individuals who want to invest but don't want to do everything active. Most people in PACEs, in the sub 2 group, and most people want to be more active in these groups, which is, I totally get it. We're active, we're building a business. When I'm like 55 and chilling on a beach somewhere, and I have more capital and I don't really want to hustle, that's the time when I would be happy to get 12% returns on money fully passively, knowing that's also going towards creating more freedom in the world. And so that is what we offer to our lenders. And so, yeah, so our lenders invest. We had a guy out of California who invested from a high yield savings account. He's getting 1% returns. He was also considering doing a whole life insurance, like borrowing against that. We have a guy named Brian here locally in Kansas City. He had money from an old business or an old company he worked for that was sitting in IRA that was getting like no returns. And so he put that into this as well. A buddy of mine named Andrew used to work for Tesla. He has $70,000 sitting in a 401k. And so he is considering putting that into our company also. So these are all the ways that people tap into capital to do investments. And as investors, I know some of you are investors, probably a lot of you, you guys know about all these methods to tap into, money that you can use to invest in different ways. All right. So, and this is kind of the pitch for our lenders, but this is one of the safer investments you can do in real estate, in my opinion. And so this is why people like it. People mostly like the purpose side of it. And then, yeah, we offer 12% returns and we pay them out of the monthly cash flow dividends. So the one ask I have for everyone here is if you know somebody who could benefit from 10 to 12% returns fully passively in real estate, if you would connect them with me. We want to talk to more people. We want to bring this opportunity to more people and also just learn more from what people's feedback are on these opportunities. We're always looking to talk to more people and help them to tap into investing in real estate, whether that's from an active standpoint and doing it themselves, or it's from a more passive standpoint and they just have capital that they want to put into properties. Cool. So usually we're doing our investments at 25 to 50,000, 7 years, long-term, consistent, predictable income every month. You get paid out every single month. All right. So that's yeah. So that's mostly that's the model. So let's bring whatever questions you might have. Let me know, where you are in your journey, whether you're getting your first deal or you're trying to get your 10th deal, or you're trying to create a scalable model. But that's the business model in a nutshell. And so now let's open it up and yeah, answer some questions. Yeah, so the investors are secured with a deed of trust position on the property. So the investors who invest with us, they're secured with a deed of trust on that specific property, and then they have whenever for example the houses we showed earlier, you'd have a lien position on that property, and then you would receive money out of the cash flow. So that's what we call them, cash streams. It's like we did all the work to get the buyer to get the house, to get the buyer to put it through our loan servicing company. We do everything. Our investors just come in with the money, they get the cash flow at a 12% yield per year. All right, so yeah, this is more or less it here. All right, what else we got? Are you getting seller finance deals that you can walk the debt on? What do you mean by walk the debt on? um yeah, let me know what you mean by that, Jordan. Substitutional collateral. I'm not familiar with what that means. So what we're doing for, are you talking about acquisitions or dispositions? You can unmute yourself also if you want to talk. Mm-hmm. Okay, great questions. Okay, so JB, so for our 7 year payout, we pay them out fully amortized every 7 years. So that this money is fully amortized, so it's not interest only. So it's going to be amortized out fully over 7 years. And then say at year 4, that family sells the property, you would then get paid out when the family sells. So it's pretty close to interest only, but the final but we do fully amortize it. And that's just to protect our lenders so that they are definitely going to get all of their money out, set it, forget it over time, and they can also reinvest everything as it comes back into their accounts. Um, Lauren, so our first generation buyers, so we use agents. We've historically used agents as we're doing this. We have 2 agents that we work with really closely in the Kansas City market, and they have been doing this for, one of them's been doing it for like 2 decades. And so they're really well connected with the first generation buyers. We do have a mentor who does this all across the eastern part of the United States, Tennessee, Georgia, and so on. And he has that all in-house. And he does it through Marketplace, mostly Facebook Marketplace. So Facebook Marketplace, you bring them in, you put the offer there, they want to go look at the house, you give them access to the lockbox, let them check it out, and they'll make offers. So that's another easy way to do it. The higher the down payment, the less attractive and less appealing it is. Facebook Marketplace also like may temporarily block your account. This is if anyone's like sold houses on Facebook Marketplace. This is just something that like happens sometimes, and you just have to figure out how to deal with the bureaucracy and Facebook banning you, which comes with every single business that comes with things like this, where it's just like frustrating things. But Facebook Marketplace is amazing. Craigslist is amazing, and we have tried Facebook ads before in the past, and it was okay. But like when you're selling these houses, you're basically being a real estate agent. So that's why we still use an agent, because none of us really wanted to be an agent. And in business, like now that we're doing 5 properties like this a month now, and so now that we're doing that, we're really focused on getting the house, putting the family inside, and having a smooth operation there. And so for us, like it's focused on the operations, and that's where the hole in the bucket is that we want to fix. And then as we get that smoothly going with 5 properties a month, then we will probably bring that in-house, because we do pay a pretty penny for every single deal. We pay 15% of the down payment to our agents. And so if we're doing 5 a month, that's $15,000, $20,000 a month that can go towards to our agents. All right. Any more? JB, did I answer your question? I can show you guys some more of the actual deals. Yeah, this is all pretty much done for this presentation. So cool. Yeah, let's go into more questions. I know that Jordan had some, and I can stop sharing my screen really quick, and I can then show you guys what our spreadsheets look like. Veronica, yeah, I think, yeah, I recorded it, and just message me and I can send you over a replay so you can present to your partners as well. And then you can reach out to me with whatever questions that you might have also. Um, yeah, Kyle. So we use Kiavi to purchase, and then we also are financing with them as well. And a big part of what I'm doing right now is I'm focusing a lot on our private lenders and building that out within our company. Because when we're buying 5 properties a month, we have $1 million a month that we can raise from private individuals. So right now we use Kiavi because Kiavi has a smooth process for us. We have really good relationships there. But over time, we're very open to bringing this to creating our own fund, or connecting to an existing fund, because a lot of private individuals are going to be very happy with receiving 12% returns and 1 point. So yeah, Kiavi for purchase and for refinance at this moment. We're constantly working with different lenders to find the right fit, but Kiavi is a good one to work with. All right, I'm going to show you guys really quickly what one of our deals look like, what our spreadsheets look like. We're currently revamping our spreadsheet, but this is pretty cool, and so it might be beneficial for you guys. All right. Yes, Corey. Yeah, Corey. Yeah, I can send you a replay as well. And I'll go through and walk you guys through some properties now also, and just keep asking whatever questions come up. I mean, at the end of the day, like I'm really curious to hear what everyone's doing for investment strategies. Because like at the end of the day, like I think more so because you guys are an entrepreneurial group, like most people who are here, the biggest thing is choosing one thing. Like for us, we were wholesaling, we were going direct to seller, we were wholesaling some deals, we were wanting to wholesale some, we wanted to do all these different things. And that makes having a smooth operation extremely challenging. So for us, we've realized that we have a good product here, that this product is providing value to families and helping families gain access to homeownership. And we want to make that a repeatable model. So we want to go into, this is our business now. Our business is not going direct to seller, getting deals, wholesaling some, doing this, because all of that creates extreme operational challenges. And another like huge value add is we just went to see a guy named Gary Harper recently, from Sharper Consulting. And like, if you're at the stage of your company where you want to like really put systems behind your company, like this, Gary Harper's incredible. He's the mentor of all the mentors. So he's been like one of Pace's go-to people. He's also tons of other people's mentors like Ryan Pineda and Tiffany and Josh High, and a lot of other people that are in this space. All right. So business is great. Business is fun. It's a never-ending learning process. So I have a mentor who's really successful, and he kind of broke it down for me. He said, in business, like it usually takes people like 10 years of being in business to make $1 million, like on average. But what they don't tell you is like once you get that million, like going from 1 to 10 is super easy. Or not, I should say easy, but it's a lot easier from getting that 0 to 1. So there's this 10 years of like getting this fundamentals in place, like taking the action, making the mistakes and learning, and going from 0 to 1, that's the most challenging part. Going from that 1 up to 10, now we're at a space where it gets a lot easier, because it's just like playing a video game. Like you get towards the end of the game, and it's like you're all leveled up. You're like a boss. You've earned your stripes. You've leveled up your scores. You're 99 level, and you have all the best weapons. So it's like things become a lot easier. But it's getting from that 0 to 1, and I think that like smooth, slow, and intelligently is like the way to do it. And I've been in businesses where we've moved too fast, we've scaled too fast, and and yeah, and it's easy to want to scale really fast, but for us, like being focused in on one product is like that's where the goal is. So the property I showed you, the slab house, this is Booth Avenue, and so these are the sheets that we use, and so this is kind of we had someone on our team make this, and if anyone wants to access one of these, just also shoot me an email and I can send you a blank one. But so we look at the current market value. We see what the market rents are. So the rents are really important also. So you want to kind of line up the rents so that is similar. So we'll use, oops, I use Rentometer, and then I'll use Zillow as well, just to get like an idea of what that market rent is. So typically we're throwing it in there. This is a 3-bed, 2-bath. I believe it's 2 baths. Boom. Whoa. Man, it's expensive out in Canada. All right, let's analyze. All right, so 1312. So 75th percentile is 1400. So 1400 is really like, yeah, where it should be that we can sell it for. And so yeah, after the cushion, we have 1400 that we sold it for. That's a big thing, is like, because if your property has a rental rate of 1500 and you're trying to sell it for $3,000 a month, it's not going to work. So that's like a really important thing as well. You can sell about 15% higher on the purchase price and about 15% higher on the rent amount. And our sweet spot for our buyers is between $1,000 to $2,000 per month, PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And so that's where we really want to be. The duplex we sold was 2,300, but that's a duplex, right? This is really 2 houses in one. So we can sell a little bit above 2,000, but that 1,000 to 2,000 mark is very good. So we know with the current interest rates that we're getting, that we need to buy properties between like 100 and 150,000, 100 to 170,000 is where we want to be for our acquisitions. And then when we sell it, the numbers will usually work out pretty well. Yeah, so this kind of calculates the cash flow for us. That's the equity that we have. That is the projected profit. Then if it goes for 30 years, that's the profit you'll make from one deal, which is pretty crazy. And this was one that we have like good equity in. We also have like the underlying financing is 4.25% interest. So it's pretty cool when you do buy sub twos, because you do have that interest rate arbitrage. And it's pretty wild that on one house, like fully passively over time, you can get a profit of $277,000. So anyways, that's this is the sheet that we kind of operate from. We set our projections of what we want to sell it for. You can see the photos, or the comps, the photos, the marketing photos. So I can show you guys what we kind of did to this house. Here's the house when we first got it. It was pretty fine. It's actually pretty good condition, except for this foundation. And it's foundation on a slab as well. So you have to it's a little bit, we have a really good foundation person. That's another big thing that we've gotten, is like we have one really amazing foundation person, and we probably purchased 4 or 5 properties, maybe 3 or 4, just from having a really good foundation person, because that's a point of arbitrage. We can, especially if you're buying on market on the MLS, or if you're buying from wholesalers, really anywhere. If you have a way to create value, this is not us doing fix and flips. We just literally have a guy that can do a really good job on foundations. So you can see property's in pretty good condition. And then here, it's pretty much similar condition. We fixed the foundation. We cleaned out the fridge. I think we power washed the outside. We painted a little bit. But yeah, it's pretty much the exact same, except for that foundation that we fixed. I think we power washed it. Yeah. Cool. All right. Any other questions? Was that valuable at all for you guys? Yeah, if you have a question, feel free to pop in and chat also. And there we can do a. All right, sent you guys a poll. All right, cool. Well, let me think if there's anything else that I can kind of share with you guys, but I'm happy to stick around and answer questions if anyone wants to come on and just chat. But that's the business model in a nutshell. Wraps are really great. It's basically passive. The two other challenging areas of it is the accounting. So we use a company called BEC who does our bookkeeping. That was a big thing to figure out because it is complicated because you're amortizing loans. And then what else? Loan servicing, we use Madison Management. Here, let me help you out, Jordan.
Hey man, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so I was just going to tell you, on substitutional collateral, if you're getting like straight seller finance deals, like, absolute, it's free and clear property, and you get a seller finance deal, you can, put in your mortgages like, um, that this would be, you could substitute the collateral. So essentially, if in fact you ever wanted to, if you like get really, really good terms or debt, you can take that debt in the future. Like let's just say like that the buyer that's going to buy your property decides to they're going to actually exercise and close you out and try to pay it
Mm-hmm.
off. You can remove that debt. You can get a release from your seller. And then if you have something else that's free and clear or whatever, you can go and release and put that debt on something else of equal or higher value. So you don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that debt, especially if you get,
Right.
0%, 2%, 3%. Because then you can go and then some of these old guys, what they'll do too is like they may even have a buddy or something that has free and clear property, and they'll park that debt on there for a time being. Let's just say you've got a buddy that's got a house that's equal or higher value of that property that you encumbered. um and then you can you could just say, hey, let me park this debt over here. And here's another scenario. Let's just say you don't even really like the property and you can't really sell it or whatever. You could take that debt, those you got a buddy that's got a free and clear piece, move that debt, put it over here, and then you could take that. Now that you've got that house free and clear, you could go sell that house off to go raise some money and go put it to works. Because when you sell it, there's no debt on there, and it's not paying that seller off because you've released it, put it on something else. So it's just another way to like kind of raise capital. Um,
Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of that, but that makes sense.
yeah,
So basically, if we have a house that they're exercising the seller finance,
yeah.
we have
You
good
want to you
underlying
want to
financing, we can transfer that.
you want to go get have that released from your seller and go put that on
Mhm.
something else. So, yeah, it's pretty powerful. Because
Cool.
otherwise anyway, if you're not on Twitter, follow, get on Twitter, follow Jason Dillard. He is he might be the smartest person I know when it comes to beyond creativity that is, I don't know, when it comes to notes and partials
Nice.
and options.
Yeah, notes and partials is it's a whole world. It's
Yeah.
definitely a whole world. There's a lot of this. It's huge rabbit holes because you're really learning how banks operate, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So you are, so tell me, just you're going and getting DSCR loans with Kiavi, and then
Mhm.
you're not wrapping those, are you? Or you're just doing a contract for deed or a lease option.
Yeah, we'll do a contract for deed or a lease option,
So
and
you're
then so
getting
we
probably
at
a
that.
high interest rate,
Yeah,
8% or something, 10% or.
yeah, yeah. So we're not making money off the interest rates really, except for our underlying's lower than our buyer's underlying. So for example, we owe 150,000 and our buyer owes us 215, right? So we'll pay down ours quicker. But the interest, it's not really interest rate arbitrage when you're doing it with institutional money. But we are getting that equity built in. So we're getting, $50,000 of equity per
And those
property
are
after the
30-year
down payment.
loans.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. I've done a
yeah,
lot of deals with Kiavi on flips and stuff, man. They're so easy to work with. They're so great to work
yeah.
with. They're like,
Yeah, we like Kiabi.
yeah, they're awesome. Awesome, man. Well,
Yeah.
that's you. I think also too your market, Kansas City, lends itself to this really well, and it's a little
Hmm.
bit difficult when you're in like three and four and $500,000 markets. Not that you can't do it; it's
Yeah.
just you easily can do it when you're in the 200,000 or less market.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the median income housing is a little bit more challenging. Kyle, the interest rate for Kiabi is around, I think it's like 8.5 or 9%, between 8 and 9. I always underwrite really conservatively. So I always underwrite as 9%. But yeah, around 8.5 to 9, I think. And then Veronica said, as an investor, do we get to capture some of the depreciation? No, as an investor, it's just you get a 1099-I. So if you're passively investing with us, you just get a 1099-I. If you are owning the property, and here's a really interesting thing because like most people say that you have to do the lease option to get depreciation then. If you do a contract for deed, you do not get the depreciation, although I have heard other people say that you do. And so that's another perk of doing like a lease option model is that you are able to capture that depreciation. Um, yeah, yeah, but there's some intricacies to that as well. So as a passive investor, you just get the 12% returns. And
Philip, maybe just if you're doing 5 deals a month, you say like how many of those are going to be subject twos? How many are seller finance? How many are
zero right now. What we're doing right now is we're just moving up to 5 a month. So that's in the next 90 days, we want to do 5 deals per month. And we want to see what the cap is on getting them from real estate agents. So getting them from like straight from real estate agents is really what we want to do. So we want to see, are there enough deals to get 5 a month from agents that fit our buy box and that are at, 75 to 80% of the value.
so you're sourcing these at retail, buying them or getting maybe a little bit of a discount, buying them with DSCR loans.
Seven, 75 to 80%. Yeah. So we want to be 75 to 80% of ARV minus repairs. And we're still finding those deals on the market
Interesting.
because it's just houses that are maybe a little bit ugly or not super nice. So that's what we're going to see. We're going to see like, where is the cap for that? And then, so right now, because we're learning a lot about systems and processes and how to like really, do things like in an intelligent way. So first, let's start here. Let's see, like we have agents working for us. Let's see, where is our ceiling here? And then if we see like, okay, we can get 4 per month from on market. And then it's like, okay, now let's open up wholesalers as well and start buying from wholesalers. And that's kind of how we're looking at it. We're looking to find our limits here. Cool. Yeah. Thanks for the questions, Jordan. Any
I mean, so I know some guys that do this too, but I guess how raggedy are some of these properties? Are you able to acquire that some people will still take on kind of these, working for equity, these sweat, these construction guys or of
Yeah,
that
I can
sort.
pull
Are
up
they are
our
they some raggedy
uh,
ones out there that you're doing?
no, I can pull up our buy box. Yeah, let me show you guys our buy box. Remember, we're still refining our buy box, but I can show you guys what it looks like. Oh, this is for our investors. Boom, this is our buy box. So single family and duplexes in the 5 county KC metro, ARV of 150 to 260, duplexes up to 275, asking price between 110 and 190, 80% of ARV minus repairs, vacant and closed, cosmetically outdated. So we are not doing big rehabs. Once again, like we are a finance company, we are not a fix and flip company. We are not a rehab company. Like we want to get properties that are cosmetically outdated, put $5,000 of work into it, and then get our buyers inside.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we're not. Yeah,
I've got one that fits this buy box, except it probably really needs like 25 or 30K really to like, I feel like somebody to really want it, but I don't know. It still might sell. I would just have to still
yeah,
go and raise the capital, I guess, to still take it down.
yeah. I mean, we're like when it's cosmetically outdated, it still needs like 30,000 of work, but we're just not doing all that work, right? Because it's going to qualify for a DSCR loan without us doing that work. So that's like the biggest things, like mechanicals, roof, foundation, like does it check all the boxes to get long-term financing in place? Yeah. And yeah, and then like the whole world of notes though is really fascinating too. So one of our investors is actually one of the largest note investors in the country. And we met him through another mastermind group. And he's one of the second or third largest in the country, and he's just like a one-man show. It's like him and his wife. Um, and he just like lives like a super chill life, goes on vacation a lot, and he just buys and sells notes because this just like mortgages. If you know what you're doing in this space, Nick Legamargo is also really smart. I really enjoy talking to him. I reach out to him periodically and just ask him a lot of questions because he's been in this game for decades, and it's just really interesting because there's so much you can do with the notes. And so like other things that we're considering as well is because now we're using a lot of private capital, and we have to find the lenders as well. And that's it's like we have a good opportunity and we need to find the lenders. So how can we connect the opportunities to the lenders? And that requires a sales funnel of sorts, right? Finding those people and like making them aware of our opportunity. But another thing that we could potentially do, and this is a really interesting area where we're considering this after the next 90 days because we want to focus for 90 days. One thing we learned from Gary Harper and Sharper Institute was 90-day sprints. They really like get focused for 90 days. Don't change your product. Have one product, prove concept. Don't change it all the time. We were guilty of changing stuff a lot. It's like, oh, we can buy subject to or seller financing or this or that. I'm gonna say, no, we're buying like this, we're selling like this. This is our buy box. Let's do it and execute. But one thing that we can consider is getting hard money for taking it down, putting the family inside, and then bundling it up and just selling off that note. And then you sell notes to the note investors. And the note is just, it is just the agreement, it's the mortgage. And so if you bundle it up nicely and do it all in the right way, there are people who will buy that like 90% of the value. So that's a really creative way to make wholesales out of these deals where you can get a property, put a family inside, and then probably sell it for $30,000 of profit after a few months. So it's another
Yeah.
really interesting kind of hybrid.
Yeah. So I will tell you too, just sorry, I'm chiming in, but
Mhm.
to follow Jason, but he does a lot of this too, and then he'll take those notes instead of just trading them off just for cash because it's a taxable event because he doesn't like taxes. I mean, they leverage these notes and to get into bigger properties. Now, I don't know if that's maybe it's just too far off, but you can take those notes also and just like so what he'll do is like let's just say that note is for I don't know $200,000 or something at whatever 10% interest or whatever it is. He would use that as like a down payment to get into another deal. Like he'll leverage that note for $1 million building and say, hey, I've got this note that's you'll use it as collateral.
With who? Like who's using it as collateral
He'll
with the
take
banks?
he'll take some of your like the notes you're creating instead of just selling them all for cash. He'll leverage those notes as collateral to get into other deals because he doesn't do cash transactions. Everything he does is deed for deed or prop or note for deed or whatever. Like he doesn't want taxable events, so he doesn't use cash. So everything he does, like if he does a 1031 exchange, he's doing a 1030, it's a simultaneous 1031 exchange where there's no cash involved. And so but he'll leverage these notes and say like, this would be like this, like if he was buying $1 million property, sorry, if he was buying like $1 million property and he had like this note, he could use that as leverage to say seller that was got this $1 million property and let's just say they want $500,000. He said, down. He said, well, I've got this, $200,000 note collateralized by this $300,000 house. Um, you know, is that okay to get like he would use that as leverage to get into that $1 million deal instead of having to come to cash with it.
Interesting. Yeah, I've
So
never heard
just
that before. That's really
food for
cool.
food for thought.
Yeah, another cool thing about what we do with our lenders as well, like when we sell off the cash streams, is that money that's coming into us is not taxable. So most of our revenue, like that comes from that, is not taxable either because it's a loan.
That's good.
Hmm. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, yeah. Feel free. Yeah, if anyone else has any questions, chime in, or you guys can feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. You guys should have my email also. I have a Calendly link in my link tree, which is on my Facebook. You guys can book a call with me if you want to go through any of this stuff anymore. If you have questions, like I'm here to be of service and help. I'm not like by any means like a 50-year veteran in this space, but we do spend like all of our time and energy like in this space, learning this stuff. We have mentors who've been in the space for decades. So we do try to surround ourselves by really smart people who like understand this industry really well. So yeah, happy to be of as much service as I can be.
Did you say who you're actually using for as a mentor? Is it Nick or is that?
I mean, well, I talked to Nick. I want to work with Nick in the future. So this guy Nick Legamaro works with Eric Sage. They're nerd experts. I've worked with a guy named Lou Brown. There's a guy named Travis Oglesby. Obviously Pace, like Pace's group is amazing. Like Pace is how we really first got set up in this. We have a local mentor named Luther Wilson. He's amazing. My business partner's been on the phone with him for like probably 100 hours at this point. He would just answer all of our questions when we first started. So like finding someone locally is amazing. Like Luther is like this older gentleman and he just like has been doing this for decades. And so we got to ask him tons of questions and he helped us, get our first house. He helped us close it. So yeah, I think just really being open to like close mentorship. Yeah. Yeah. So those are some of the ones that we've used.
Nice. Yeah. I've heard of most of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Lou Brown we partnered with before. So we've done partnerships with him where he brought the capital.
Old Lou Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lou Brown's really cool because like the interesting thing about like the note space is it's full of like a lot of older people. So Lou Brown is like in his mid to late 60s, I think. And he just like we went to his events and we're like the young bucks because it's all like people who are in their 50s and whatnot. So he's been doing this for a while, and so we're certified as affordable housing providers under Lou Brown. So he kind of taught us a lot of this, and we've had we bought houses with him, so we got to use that as a leverage for mentorship as well.
Lead time on finding buyers.
What's that?
What's been your lead time on finding buyers?
Yeah, so we want to have a buyer in within 4 weeks. Sometimes it has gone, and once again, like your lever is the down payment. So like, and it's also like with our agents, because we do use agents, you have to galvanize them a little bit. Like, hey, what's going on? We have to check in with our agents like multiple times, and when we check in with them, they focus more on our properties and they sell them. So the one that we just sold today, I think we were about 4 weeks, and that's about as long as we want to be. The duplex I showed you guys sold in 1 day. So duplexes are really hot. And then we've had that property that we had the mold issues on. We had that one for several months. So and that's because the property was too expensive. It was one of the first ones we bought. But luckily we're actually partners with Lou on that one. He really helped to guide us. Well, here in the background, I think we got another property that we're buying from a real estate agent, which is cool. Yeah, I think cutting off the direct to seller for us was huge because it was just all of my time I spent like doing it. It was really interesting because that was the bread and butter of our company for 3.5 years. We were direct to seller, marketing, everything, wholesaling. That was the life stream of our company. But we had too many things going on, and then we cut that off. And then it's just like, wow, now we can focus on like raising capital. We can focus on training agents for us. We can focus on our buyers more. And it just allows for us to be a lot better business when we slim down and slim down our operations a bit. Cool. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. Appreciate you all's time and willingness to come and just hang out and listen. I hope that was valuable for you guys and gals. And yeah, reach out to me. Let me know if I can be of any additional service. Kyle, for the duplexes, are you putting it in 2 separate families or selling it? Where you? So it's one family, Kyle, and that family's actually house hacking it. And we have a second duplex to sell here soon that we're fixing up. So yeah, no, we're not doing 2 separate families. One family, and then that family will either put one of their relatives in it or they'll house hack it and rent it. Because like, it's first generation, like they're making their money work for them. And they also, like a lot of first generation Americans from Latin American countries, a lot of them perceive houses as savings accounts. So they want to put more money into the house because they know it retains value, right? Like a lot of them like don't trust the banks, I think, or they just don't use the banks as much. And so they put the money, boom, into the house. They perceive it as a savings account. So yeah, they're doing the same thing that we do. You know, they're house hacking um, and just capitalizing on the appreciation and so on. Cool. Okay. Any final questions before I shut this bad boy down? Going once, going twice. All right. Cool. Okay. Thank you all. Yeah, reach out to me if you want to chat more. Happy to be of service, be of value. Once again, if you know anyone who might be interested in getting involved with what we're doing and maybe want more passive type returns, just want to learn more about our company and what we do, feel free to connect us, and I'm always happy to chat with people as well. And yeah, thank you guys all for coming, and we'll be in touch, and hopefully we'll do this again. And yeah, you guys are doing deals, reach out, and I'm happy to help. Bye bye. Thanks for all your questions, Jordan.
Thanks, man. Great stuff.